All right, so I wanted to talk about the fact that the kill rates have gone down for all killers across the board, according to Nightlight GG's. Some killers as much as 10%. So as we can see, my main right here, the Huntress, is at about 47%, right? 46.68. Now, I've been tracking her on Nightlight GG's over the past year for another video. She's been averaging around 52%, and she's gone all the way down to 46, so about 6%, right? And there's no coincidence what's causing it. Survivors are being forced to stay in their matches and not give up instantly. And they're being forced to work on generators because the AFK Crow system, although it got kill switched, was absolutely ridiculous and forced survivors to hammer out generators, right? Ostarva went on a 7-tweet long, twit longer thingy that really had a lot of good explanations for all these things. The devs on the forums said that none of this is true and the stats are off. I don't believe it at all. The devs are very well known for lying very frequently. You can go to the forums and see them being called out completely, and they'll just delete any users who call them out on their lies, right? Like they'll say that something's not a bug and it's intentional, and then they'll quietly fix it and push it out. They've done this several times in the past, right? But I more along the lines wanted to bring this up because I wanted to talk about an idea that I've had for a while, and that's the dark future of the Huntress in Dead by Daylight. So we can see she's already down to 47%, and I was predicting that she would drop below 50% already. But that was for another reason, and that reason is on the roadmap, survivors are getting more base kit anti-tunnel, more base kit anti-camp, and base kit anti-slugging. And what does she happen to excel at? All three of these things. She's really good at snowballing, slugging, tunneling, and camping. And that's going to hurt her a lot more than a lot of other killers because a lot of new people gravitate towards her. They're not so good with their power. They kind of panic a little bit. You know, they tend to camp a lot more when it comes to Huntress, right? And then it's going to affect the really good Huntresses who are cracking out cross-map shots, slugging and downing multiple survivors at a time. So it's going to really punish her. I can't tell you how many matches I've had where I've been absolutely getting cooked, and then I just lock in and start landing hatchets left, right, and center, and I slugging down the whole team. Well, if they introduce like a base kit unbreakable, I'm not going to be able to do that, right? That's going to hurt me a lot. It's going to steal my ability to gain pressure back. So I already had a feeling that she was going to drop below 50%. I didn't think it would be this soon, but it just goes to show that when survivors are forced to play the game and forced to work on the objective and they can't just float around for saves, that they actually are a lot stronger than they think, right? Now, that's if you believe these stats, which I do personally because I've had matches where all the gens have popped in 4 minutes flat, and I'm like, holy shit, if survivors just worked on generators, they would win the vast majority of their games. Like I said, I had a match where I lost all 5 gens in 4 minutes, which averaged 50 seconds a gen, and all of them had one gen speed perk, and 2 of them had toolboxes. So they could have had 16 gen perks and 4 toolboxes with double charges. They didn't. They only had one gen perk each. And I was like, this is absolutely insane. These gen speeds are insane, right? So if survivors really wanted to win and they weren't so, focused on having fun chases and hitting clips with flashlight saves and pallet saves and stuff like that, they could win way more often. Now, obviously, the game's been out 10 years. A lot of the veterans don't care about winning. They'd rather just hit sick clips and things like that. So you have that kind of disconnect where you have 2 veterans on a team trying to hit clips, not working on gens, while the 2 newer people are trying to work on gens to win. So it can kind of even each other out in that regard, right? But I already knew this day was coming. Like I said, I was easily expecting her to drop below 50% when these changes are implemented, depending on how they're implemented. And we can already see that there's a future iteration of Chaos Shuffle coming up where survivors are going to be getting base kit Tenacity and base kit Unbreakable. And that's a leak according to Ruthless Leaks, but he's had a pretty solid track record. Like I don't know what his exact percentage is. It's like 80 to 90, right? He's very reliable. Honestly, if that comes to Chaos Shuffle, I'm just not gonna play it at all because it's just kind of absurd. You down a survivor cross map with a hatchet. Good luck finding them. You are not going to find them at all whatsoever. You down a survivor and you see a few survivors floating around for a save with a flashlight. you have it's a lose-lose. You push the survivors off who are waiting for the flashlight save, the person gets up, or they crawl away and then get up. Or you pick up immediately and you get saved. You just don't have any options. So if that does come to Chaos Shuffle, I'm not playing Chaos Shuffle at all. And if that does come to 1v4, man, that is going to be very, very brutal. And I was expecting more along the lines of base kit anti-camp being 24 meters instead of 16 or 12 now, whatever it is. Base kit decisive strike, that's 40 seconds instead of 60. And then base kit unbreakable, maybe tenacity too, because of Chaos Shuffle. But either way, if that happens, if all those things I think get implemented are gonna get implemented, do get implemented, she's going to drop way down. If this isn't right and she's still at her average of 52% where she's been over the last year, she's going to easily go below 50%. If this is right and she's at 46% and this is accurate, she's going to go below 40. And it's just really going to show. Now, I've been a stan for Huntress for years. I've been calling for her to be buffed. Again, she might have been fine at 110.77 when the game was like first released, right? And maps were super open and big and you could use your power a lot more freely. But the game has changed. The game has changed a lot since then, especially in 2020 when all the maps got ruined. I made a video checking it out. You know, if the maps were like old school DBD, she would still be really good, like A tier, maybe bordering S. But the maps are so bad for her now. There's no reason for her to be 110 anymore. There's just no reason for it. There's no reason for Blight to be 115 and her to be 110. It just doesn't make sense. Slinger shouldn't be 110 either. It makes no sense. There's no reason for her to be moving at 77 when holding a hatchet. Again, it makes no sense. She should be moving at 85 bare minimum. You have people complain about her zoning capability. Springtrap zone's better, Demo zone's better, Pyramid Head zone's better, Nemesis zone's better. Although Nemesis is a 3-hit, so I guess it's not as big of a deal, right? It and she moves slower than Nurse when holding her hatchet. And like, how does that make sense? A lot of it doesn't make sense, and like Wesker has the problem Huntress does too, where sometimes he can't use his power at loops unless you know how to freaking hug tech, but he normally can't use his power at loops because if he stubs his big toe on a rock, it cancels his power completely. But he has the 115 backup. She doesn't have a 115 backup. And she's like 2 feet taller than him, so she can be seen over a lot of loops that he can't. It's just a whole thing. There's a lot of factors that are going against this killer. Like I said, I've said this before in other videos. I'm good with her. I don't need buffs, but I can tell that she does overall. She's just not as good as people make her out to be. You know, people complain about her hitboxes a lot. It just makes me concerned for the future of this killer. Games are going to be a lot harder, especially if they implement all those mechanics. I'm going to start losing a lot more if I'm not able to snowball and things like that, but I guess we'll just see how it goes. At the end of the day, I'll never give up on her because she's my favorite killer and she's the most fun to play. But I don't know. There's some dark things on the horizon when it comes to killers and Dead by Daylight, and there's even darker things I think when it comes to Huntress. And I know maybe I might be biased in some of the ways I view things, but I think everything in this game affects her more, right? When you have such a dynamic killer who moves at different speeds, 110 and 77, the littlest things affect her. You know, if a survivor gets haste, 3% haste from Made for This, it messes up all of your timings. All of your shots on loops that have a little gap, you're not hitting those anymore at all. Or you got to get an extra loop around before you can even attempt it. Endurance perks absolutely devastate her because she hits and then she has to reload more frequently. Locker spawns, maps, clutter, things like that. Even the new event, Heal You, Expose You, it's so tough because I have a entire team injured, and then they pop a generator and they get a full reset, and I can't even capitalize on my expose because I'm 110. You know what I mean? So it's just hard to put it in. It might be like I'm crying over spilled milk because I still win a lot, you know what I mean? And you might be a trapper, man. You're like, at least you're fucking winning, you know what I mean? But it does feel unfair when you can't do certain things just because the limitations on your killer. Like when I get to a loop where I can't use my power, it's like, okay, like how is this fair? I'm a 110 killer because my power is so good, but there's like 10% of the loops on each map I can't even use my power at. So I'm just a 110 M1 killer who's tall as fuck, and people can see my bunny ears over the loop, so they can fucking juice me for decades. It's like this. What are we doing here? But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the dark future of Huntress, and I wanted to make this video for a while, but now I think was the best time to make it. I'm calling it. If she's not below 50% right now, if these aren't accurate, if they, I guess it depends on how they do it, but when they do implement the base kit, anti-tunnel, anti-slug, and anti-camp, she's easily gonna go below 50%. Easily. There's no way she doesn't. Huntress mains just utilize that playstyle too much. She's like literally the queen of snowballing, the queen of slugging, in my opinion. Can't be beaten. And if they implement base kit anti-slug, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt bad. And especially if they do a base kit tenacity, that's gonna be brutal because you land a cross map snipe and then all of a sudden they are gone. They are gone unless you're using glowing concoction. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that and kind of give my thoughts. That does it for this one though. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to that good stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next one.